Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Organized Chaos, and today I wanted to make a quick video to show you some of the organizational tools that I use specifically for music teaching, that I use for my classroom. These are materials that I have in the Ultimate Music Teacher Organization bundle, and they also are in the Plan My Whole Life music teacher planners that I have in my Teachers Pay Teacher store. So if you're interested in seeing all or parts of the things that I show you today, just check for the links down below so that you can find them for yourself. I'm trying something a little bit different today. As you can probably tell, I'm recording on my phone, which I haven't really done before, and I apologize. I'm sure it's a little bit shaky, but I wanted to try it and see how it goes, just to see if I can make videos a little bit easier for me, which would make it a little bit easier for me to put more videos out. So we're going to try it, and just bear with me if you can. So anyway, I'm going to switch the camera over and show you all the different tools that I use. These are all things that I use all or part of in my own teaching, and they've really made a huge difference in just streamlining everything, in making sure that I'm not missing important things that I need to do or think about. So I wanted to share them with you. All right, so I've got the not everything that I've made for music teachers here, but examples of everything. So this will give you a good idea of what I use and how I use it, and what is available that you might want to use for yourself. So the first thing that I have are these organizers for the National Core Art Standards, which came out just a couple years ago in the United States, and they're starting to be adopted by a lot of states now as well, and the ones that haven't yet, many of them are in the process of doing so. So if you go to the National Core Art Standards on their website, it is so overwhelming. The language itself is admittedly overwhelming enough as it is, but on the website, the way they have the information organized, I was seriously going cross-eyed and getting a headache trying to read through and just understand everything. So these organizers I made for myself, and they made a huge difference when I was first starting to wrap my head around everything and tried to create long-range plans based on those. And if you're interested in learning more about how I do my long-range planning and curriculum design and things like that, go to caldwellorganizedchaos.com and you'll find a link to my Lesson Planning Made Awesome course. It's a free email course that will take you through that process. So back to this. Basically, each standard is organized by category, obviously, and these are the anchors over here. And then all the wording is here, and then I've got the teach and assess box here. So I used them I would write in the month because I plan out my yearly plans by month. So when I was making my plans so that I could keep track of which ones I'd already covered, I would write down, September is when I'm going to teach it. And then sometimes it's the same. I'll assess it in September too. Sometimes I'm going to start teaching it in October, but I'm not going to really assess it until we've worked on it a while, and I'll assess it in February or whatever. But you could also just use it as a checklist or whatever you want to do. So these I have for pre-K all the way through 8th grade for general music. And then I don't currently teach instrumental or choral ensembles, but I know many music teachers do, and so I've done the same exact thing for the ensemble standards, and those are labeled by level rather than grade level because every district starts ensembles at different times and their programs are set up differently. So I put that small so that you can add text yourself to label it actually as, fifth grade beginner band or whatever it is. But it goes from novice ensemble all the way to advanced ensemble. So those are the National Core Arts Standard organizers. The next thing I have, which has been really handy, especially when I'm starting to do a program type or something that I'm not used to doing when I move to a new job, or certainly when I was starting out my teaching career, is the performance planner. And different parts of this are useful for different things. I actually right now in my current district only do concerts that are for choir and band, but I have in the past done full-scale musicals with, costumes and lighting and set changes and everything. So they're designed so that you can kind of mix and match the parts you need depending on what you're doing. So the first page is just writing down the basic information. So this is going to be for the third grade choir, and these are the pieces we're going to do, or whatever. And then, writing down the dress code or this is just a way for you to think through everything and make sure that you haven't forgotten about anything, because that was always the most anxiety producing part, especially at the beginning of my teaching career, was feeling like I had forgotten some detail, and usually I had if I hadn't done this. So, and I've got, what is going to be in the program, what information needs to be in it, when do I need to send it to whom to get it printed, that kind of thing, posters and, notices that I need to send home, people that I need to contact and with what. So I need to tell the homeroom teachers this information on this day, and I need to tell the secretary this information on this day, and the custodians, and you get the idea. And this is the same kind of thing, more specific than this. When I did full-scale musicals, I had a lot of parent helpers who I basically just handed off costume design and things like that too. So this was really useful for those kinds of things. And then the performance order, it's nice to be able to kind of sketch it out and make changes and do arrows and try different arrangements to figure out if it's like more of a concert. And then if it's a stage production, or actually even for concerts, like getting on and off the risers, or where is the band going to be and where are the choir risers going to be, and trying to figure out where kids are going to move and how and all of that. And then these are good for two things. I use these I do have a choir, an elementary school choir. So these are good for rehearsal notes. I have lesson planning pages, which are fine for, writing out actual lesson plans, but I find for when I have my ensembles, it's nice to keep track of our progress on each song separately sometimes if I need to go into better detail, or if I have a lot of ensembles to juggle and they're all doing different songs, things like that. So these are just organized different ways. So this is so that you can organize it by song. These are the same thing, but just have like less space for each rehearsal. These are so that if you have, one group doing lots of different songs, you can have that on a 2-page spread. Okay, so that's the concert planner. This is obviously Recorder Karate. For those who do that program, it's just a much easier way for me to check off what belts they've done, because I use loom bands for my recorder belts, which I highly recommend over yarn. But I have had kids who add their own loom bands from home and try to pretend like they've passed it off a belt that they haven't. So this is a really good way to have a hard copy and be able to say, Johnny, you did not do your blue belt yet, and have the hard, cold facts right in front of them. These are super useful. And ever since I started using these, it has made such a difference for me. This is just an at-a-glance sheet for writing down the most important information that we need to know about IEPs. So as specialists, I get this huge stack of papers every year with, packets full of information, and it is just totally overwhelming. So what I actually have done is I have the school psychologist or whoever is in charge of them sit down with me, and I write down what are the things that are actually applicable to me, because a lot of this stuff just doesn't apply for my classroom. But the other thing that's helpful is, we have different people who kind of take the lead for different students. So I write down the name of that person. So if anything ever comes up, I know who to ask first to get down to the bottom of whatever the issue is most quickly. So I have IEPs and 504s, which are literally the same thing with a different title. And then also medical information. This is something I added last year because I had several students with serious medical conditions that we needed to be on top of. And that was, again, just very difficult with hundreds and hundreds of students to keep track of everything. So this was really nice to have. And then the last thing I'm going to show you in here is seating charts. Oh no, I have two things, but this is one. I have tons and tons and tons of different seating chart options because we have different class sizes, we have different classroom setups, and all different kinds of things that people use. I personally use this one with the circles for kindergarten. They sit on the floor. So there are ones with color and ones without. And all of these configurations I have in different class sizes, in color, with no color, and with the little check boxes and without. So here's a U shape. Here's, more of the arc style if you have, traditional instrumental ensemble setup, that kind of thing. This is another one that I personally use. I have obviously my class split up into 6 color teams. You can read more about that on my blog if you search color coding. But so I have the chairs set up in 3 rows and they're split into groups with an aisle down the middle. And then I have these, which are for those carpets that a lot of people use, and each kid has a square. They're color coded with those colors. And then this is actually the last thing. So this is really more something I would use digitally actually, but you can also print it out and use it this way. So it has, this is a fillable PDF form on the computer. So you can type information directly in, and these squares here are little check boxes. So you click it and it marks it. So you can mark off the standards really easily and then type into these. But yeah, if you need to submit more formal lesson plans, this is really handy. It's got the National Core Art Standards and things like that. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing on the computer that is another good organizational tool before we wrap things up. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is the music classroom inventory, and this is an Excel file, but it would be pointless for me to print this off to show you a hard copy, so I'm going to show you on my computer. But basically, these are organized, and obviously you can edit this however you want, but it's just a pre-made form that you can fill in. Because inventory, honestly, is one of my least favorite tasks as a music teacher. It's just totally overwhelming to me. So I've gone ahead and made this form. So it has first, instruments organized by category so that you can fill those in. And then these are all made so you can sort them by each item, depending on what you're trying to find. And then there's texts and recordings. That includes CDs, DVDs, videos, textbooks, other teacher resources. I tend to have more of these than these usually. And then sheet music, which I have, holiday and other. You might want to split those up even more depending on how much you have. Large items, that's equipment and furniture. A lot of times, you have your digital piano, or you have a whiteboard or things like that the school wants you to keep track of, or you just want to keep track of yourself. And then the other category is manipulative, so things like, and then, puppets you might have, or movement things you might want to add. The nice thing is it's really easy to just select one of these boxes and then copy it and paste it, or change the title or whatever you want to do to add or delete categories. And of course you could add a whole nother page if you wanted to, but that's the other tool that I have that I use often to keep myself organized as a music teacher. That about does it for this video. Thank you again for your patience as I learn how to do these on my phone, but I hope you found some useful tools for your classroom. I know how hard it can be to stay organized as a music teacher, but hopefully this will help you with some of the overwhelm and stress that we experience. If you are interested in finding any of these either as a set or separately, make sure you look for the links down below. I'll have links to the bundle, and then you'll find that in that bundle there are links to each of the separate things. So if all you need is the inventory, you can get just the inventory. So that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!